Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Hearthstone 4 Yunnan. Let us continue on. What's going on with the DMZ in Tibet? I don't know if there's any way we can actually see what's going on there. I'm assuming it's like a conflict between the NRA and Tibet. I don't know if they're trying to like seize more territory. I mean, it might also be the unsigned government because they have claims. We'll see. Is the stream over? No, I'm just cutting up for the YouTube segments because it's easier if I have proper beginning and endings instead of just like starting videos like halfway through. Like if I was streaming like Stalker 2, then I probably would not cut the videos like that. But for Hoi 4 stuff, for sure. JLO launches a blitz, and I think that's in the Philippines. Again, not really what we're concerned with. I do want to stream Stalker 2. I just don't know when I would do it. So I like Metro, I like Fallout. I played a little bit of the earlier ones. I think it's called Pripyat. And I think Stalker 2 could be some fun for us. I've heard it's broken. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's just kind of how those games are. I think they're just broken by default. I think India will get some cool content for... Hey, our credit rating's improved. We lost more production, but our credit rating has improved. Fantastic, fantastic. So what's our credit rating at now, then? Ooh, we're on fair. We're halfway up. We have a number, so I think that's pretty good. I'm glad to have a number, but we only have, what, 3 factories now? No, we're back up to 5. It's just we have no military production, unfortunately. I mean, we do want military production for the obvious reason that, I need guns. I need to fight Japan at some point. But we'll see. Okay. What's the status quo? Luhan sat at his desk and had been spending the day filling reports, hearing from aides, and drinking heavily. By the time that Chen had finally come to speak with Luhan again, the night had begun to dawn, and Luhan had begun to lose lucidity. Not enough, however, to not want to listen to Chen's latest report. Tell me, Chen, what's happening? Luhan sat in his office, slumping against an armchair, squinting at Chen and his armful of papers. Sir, your approach to the insurgents have been definitive, for lack of a better term. While suppression seems to have been the route taken, initial operatives were mildly successful. The insurgent operations have been considerably diminished and seems to be coming to a close. Unfortunately, the ranks of these insurgents have been refilled with the ranks of the poor, the slummers, the farmers, the criminals. You know, Luhan sat still, processing what he had been told. While crime and terrorism had undergone a marked decrease, our resources have been put under considerable strain, and we can only hope that the situation stabilizes. Luhan frowned. Those seemed only half conscious. Stabilizes? Luhan squinted his eyes, maintained an uneven stare, and leaned forward. What do you mean, stabilized? Chen felt himself starting to sweat. Sir, Yunnan has been fighting against insurgents non-stop for the last few months. It has become difficult to beyond measure to maintain a proper state apparatus, and we are suffering for it. Luhan looked to Chen with an upset, almost neutral look on his face. We're not doing everything we can, Chen. Chen frowned and let out a sign. That's just it, sure. We are. Is this the same Chen that is the communist, or is this a separate Chen? I guess I don't know if there's a way for us to tell. We lack the proper resources to land at sites to blow against the insurgents despite our hard work. Yeah, we're poor, and everybody hates us, okay? Like, that's just my life. It's always sunny in Kunming. Life is good. A simple, bland sentence that begs further clarification. Doubly so if one could look at the situation of the province. They would find only a land riddled with diseases, crime, and back-breaking work. The meager earnings that the common peasantry could even manage split between extortion, tolls, and the bare necessities to even feed and survive to the next day. For each dawn of the sun was just another gamble if they wouldn't be caught in the crossfires of bandits, the police force, or a simple work accident in the farms of the mines. Of course, whoever would reply to the statement that Luhan with nothing more than acknowledgement or praise would find himself simply dragged off as an insurgent, as the savior of Yunnan would simply go about his day, donning the fruits of his fiefdom. For Luhan, the only opinion that matters in this land was his own, nobody else's. So life is good. The insurgents are getting weaker by the day, and whatever naysay otherwise is simply partisan propaganda. The clique and his faithful army that has control of the land to each tree that dots the landscape, and the children and the workers of the land can wake up every day at dawn with hopes in their hearts that they couldn't be granted a better purpose and quality of life than they have right now. Life is good in Yunnan, for every single person. For him, even more so. And so, with the mantra in his head, a cigar in his mouth, he wrote another letter to He Yingxin, to reiterate the positives of joint collaboration and unification of their territories could bring for the people, especially for them. For some reason, you're lacking behind by 3 seconds. That could just be like a stream thing. I'm not too sure if there's anything I can do about that. Okay, Progressive Conservatives are triumphant in Canada. Congratulations to Diefenbaker, DYB. Congratulations on your victory as well in Turkey. I mean, the NRA is extremely powerful. I mean, I want to get the NPA also, like, more help, but... Oh, yeah, we want to plan the Burma Road. Let's get this going. Making plans. Before construction on the Burma Road can begin, plans must be drawn up to ensure that it's completed in an efficient, orderly fashion. 3 plans have been proposed. The first plan calls for a rapid, mass mobilization of civilian workforce and the purchase of large amounts of industrial equipment and materials to complete the road as fast as possible. While the road will indeed be completed quickly, it'll cost much more than it potentially needs to. The second plan calls for a balance between expenses and time. The workforce will still be mobilized, but will be heavily supplemented by slave labor. Materials and equipment purchases will be spaced out to keep prices low. The road will be completed in a reasonable amount of time for an appropriate cost. The third plan calls for fragility at all costs. The road will be constructed almost exclusively with slave and convict labor. Second-hand industrial equipment in excess. Unwanted materials will be secured cheaply, albeit very infrequently. The road will be dirt cheap and will take a long time to construct. Yes, we will build it as quickly as possible. It's going to cost half $500 million? Wait, no. It'll cost $47 million. Oh, that's cheap as hell. Build that shit. Why are we building the Burma Road? So that we can... I believe it's so that instead of trading so much with Nanjing and trading with Tokyo, our plan is, in the long run, to break away from, you know, this system. So if we have a road going to Burma, we can then trade with everybody else and not have to go through Chinese or Japanese ways. I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, again, it has been a little bit since we last we've last streamed, so I might be wrong. Remember when Brittany was a thing? Yeah, that was a long time ago. Did it ever have content, or was it just like a little rump state? I don't quite remember. Did it used to ally with Revive the Burma Road? Yes. Do that. Who rules Burma? Burma is led by Aung San, and I think the USA should still be under Nixon, right? Yeah. They haven't had their election yet, so we'll see. King Farouk is dead, though, in Egypt. That's something. That's something. Again, like, the Middle East isn't really going to do anything until, like, 1971. And we might be dead by that point anyways. We might get our shit kicked in by the Chinese and the Japanese. Which I think is the most likely outcome, is that we just lose horribly. But, I mean, we'll see. It's not like anybody else is going to come save us. I don't think we can, like, get... Well, maybe we can get, like, some supplies from the United States. Maybe. Dominican Republic has defeated the rebels. And we want to... We are not enemies? No. We are enemies. Get that? I mean... Thing is, this one's longer, right? So this is, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a lot longer to finish this. So I'm just going to kill him and hope for the best. Okay. The revolt has failed. That is going to be a big boost to Germany in the Caribbean. We've lost more production unit. Look, okay, we're going to lose production unit every once in a while. That's fine. Oh, we actually got units? We actually trained more troops? I'm actually stunned. I thought we would, Okay. We'll put you on the border right now with, What are you? Guangxi? Yeah, I'll put some troops down here. I think that seems okay. Rip the Caribbean Legion. We'll never forget them. We'll never forget them. I mean, there's been a lot of, changes in the New Order over the years. Remember when there's also, what, Cornwall? Wasn't Cornwall a country as well? Echoes of a bygone past. Lu Han gently placed the Guion upon the wooden tray set up before him. His eyes fixated towards the rugged hills and the verdant trees of Yunnan, extending towards the limited horizon. He felt the heat of the freshly brewed porter tea searing on the roof of his mouth. The tea leaves coating his tongue. He paid no attention to it. He was gazing towards the east, gazing towards his past. Beyond the Great Plateau was a land in which he familiarized himself with decades past. The sprawling plains of Yunnan. The sodden banks of the Yangtze. The soil that he had once treaded upon with the rest of his comrades of the 60th Corps. Charging towards the onslaught of Japanese gunfire. Towards the glory and sorrow of the dying of one's homeland. Do you remember those days? Spent in the rubble and the debris of Shuxiao and Guangxia. Watching the shores of the Pongyang Lake. He hated Japan back then. He still does. And yet, here he was. Lu Han took another sip of the hot beverage, the aroma reminding him of the land that he once called home, Yunnan, a place which he had sacrificed so much for to ensure the safety of its people. His people. When he and his cousin submitted to the sharpened blade of the Japanese, they did so for the good of their people. So how could so many of his countrymen fail to see it as such? Why would he forever be plagued with insurgency after insurgency, compromise after compromise, just to keep his domain afloat? He took a deep breath, the tea calming his senses. He did not like the current order of affairs. His citizens certainly did not like them, but his options were limited. In order to protect Yunnan, it was either the bayonet or the pen. One of the options was untenable, and so he could always slave away under the omnipresent gaze of his former enemies. Lu Han carried a wooden tray away from the pavilion. He had more business to contend with. Okay, very sad for him. Don Kubin is a country? I don't think so. I think they got rid of Don Kubin. Isn't the Russian update supposed to be soon? Isn't that supposed to be like next month? We haven't even gotten to the Denmark update. The glimmer of sunshine. Thoughts filtered in and out of his head as Lu Han strolled back and forth slowly across this open courtyard, intending to process his thoughts as he reread recent reports over the East over and over again in his mind. Another development project was undertaken by President Guizhou in the Republic of China, a nation he is still technically a part of. Ever since his ascension, Lu Han had always had mixed opinion about President Guo. A man who held so much promise and opportunity for China and its populace, championed a term which had been referenced and spoken on countless times within the borders of his homeland, modernization. Within his homeland, modernization. His homeland is not modernization. A concept that has been in the center of Chinese administration since the waning days of the forlorn Qing dynasty. A notion demanded by the students of the May 4th, a dream proclaimed loudly by Dr. Sun Yat-sen. But alas, the rays of hopes were eventually eclipsed by the rising sun. Even though China was trampled by the jackboot of the Japanese dogs, modernization still remained as prevalent as ever. Would modernization not be the route to which China would shatter the fetters that bound it? Awaken a slumbering giant and brush off the domination of Japan once and for all? Certainly believe so. Perhaps he would be more amenable to the president. Perhaps he was the key to end our sorrows. Sure, his people might have to endure through periods of hardship, but that was not anything unfamiliar or new. The long-term benefits would outweigh any price. He stood still, frozen in place as he contemplated this dilemma. A few minutes later, his psyche had been cleared. Perhaps the president would send some resources. A meager sacrifice for the future. I'm sure people... Yeah, they'll just endure the hard times. I mean, you're full of insurrections. Everybody already wants you dead, but I'm sure they're willing to make their lives harder so that in like 40 years from now, you know, they can have like a McDonald's. We'll see how that goes for you, okay? I got a feeling it's not going to go great. We have 388 days for you. And that's fast as well. That's the fast option. Are we broke, by the way? What's our economy looking? 90.4%? Oh my god. These are not numbers we need. Okay, we're gonna need some austerity. Okay, we need some military austerity. We need to cut the budget a little bit. Okay, I mean inflation's okay. GDP growth is kind of dog shit, but this is untenable. We are spending too much money. Okay, where's Elon Musk when you need him? Get the Doge in here now. We're broke. we spent too much money trying to build this goddamn road, and trying to fight the. Oh, doesn't it cost money to fight the bandits? I think so. Oh yeah, this also costs $50 million. Shit, I'm bankrupting ourselves trying to fight the insurgents. Okay, we'll set up a trap. What we to like do like some? I mean, it's all so expensive. We're so poor, man. I can't afford anything. I'm bankrupt. Who's the most Doge leader in TNO? I don't even know, man. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I guess I don't know that many leaders, to be fair. Maybe I'm trying to think, like, who's in the U.S. Like, who would be a president that'd be the most Doge? I'm not too sure. Air superiority. I mean, we don't have an air force, man. I don't know why I'm gonna even click any of these. I guess we'll go air parity. Like, we're never going to do this. Pabrotsky? He'd reduce his government expenses by just killing everybody in Russia? I mean, I'll do it. Like, would saying, like, Himmler, if he nukes the world? Like, if he kills everybody, I mean, there'll be no... the deficit's gonna fix itself. Right? That makes sense. Letters from Kunming. It is our earnest hope that you and your brave soldiers in the Burmese section of the National Revolutionary Army are doing well, and that your labors for the freedom of the Chinese homeland are continuing to bear fruit. In accordance with the established custom, we, General Zhang Zishen and Anandpu, would like to request covert arms shipments and proceeds of your opium sales to better arm us in the NPA. If this request suits your assignment, or suits your assessment of the situation, we will make the necessary arrangements to see its implementation at the earliest possible time. In a previous correspondence, you expressed concern about the loyalties of the Vice Governor of Yunnan, the former King of Yunnan, Long Yun. We've assessed him closely, and we are of the mind that the years after the fall of Chongqing to the Japanese imperialist scum have not diluted his patriotism and devotion to our country. In fact, we are certain that the General Long has the interests of the motherland at heart and will be willing to join the insurgency against his traitor cousins when the time comes. In the meantime, we will continue to arrange for people to be sent down the Burma Road to be trained for the inevitable insurgency that to liberate us from the Japanese oppression. Long live free China. Signed, General Zhang Zisheng. General An Empu. Okay, they're up to something. Yeah, no shit, dog. They're up to something. You don't think Himmler is Doge? Building on the fallout shelters is tyrannical big government. That is very true. I didn't really consider that too much. But maybe what if he's building up a big government so that afterwards he can knock it down? You know? Like when you play Jenga, you've got to build a tower first before it falls to pieces. What do you mean by Doge? I'm talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, which is going to be Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's. It's still funny to me that the Department of Government Efficiency is going to have 2 co-chairs. that's like, come on now. Like what? Preparing the big hit. For better or worse, Yin Quin's friends have been disassociated from him and his clique for is now severely lessened his ability to oppose us. Along with this, we can now finally move on to actually dealing with the Yin Xin. This is better said than done, and arresting Yin Xin will require some form of preparations. While finishing the operation quickly should be considered, we don't want this to garner unwanted attention and destabilize us further. How should we proceed? Well, I mean, I only have one choice, so I guess we'll do it quickly. Okay. No national focus. Pick up his friends. Perhaps the Pauls will join. Is is it Ron? Is Ron Paul or Rand Paul older? Is he dead? Is Ron Paul dead? The audience with the enlightened one. Yi Jinyin, leader of what remained of the Communist Party of China, trekked up the mountains of the northern Vietnam, a path that he had traveled several times before. He had a man to speak to. To be exact, he was seeking the leader of the Viet Minh, Ho Chi Minh, an old friend of his. Embracing briefly, the 2 men shared a drink and a meal, and then fell to talking. After asking each other's families and trading stories about things that had taken place in a time since they had last seen each other, they fell to reminiscing. They looked back to the warm, happier past, a past in which Mao Zedong was still alive, a past in which China was still free and able to fight against the Japanese imperialist menace. Then their minds wandered to the present. Ho asked Yi about how the CCP's return to Yunnan was faring. He nodded, satisfied. While Lu Han and Jai Wei's traders had successfully pushed the CPC out of Yunnan and Guangxi, they had recently succeeded in resuming infiltration warfare in the southwest, thanks to a certain Vietnamese friend of ours, among others. Yi said, smirking at Ho. He matched his grin with one of his own. Yi continued. Just like your Viet Minh, our Communist Party has certainly not forgotten how to fight the Japanese imperialists and their running dogs. We will not rest until China is free. Born in 1930. Ron Paul, he's born 35? Oh my god, he's old as hell. Why didn't they make him president? I still think 2028, my money's on Jimmy Carter. I think 104 years old, I think that's the age the president needs to be. That's a lot of experience in one man. But I will say that at least right now it's going to be time for us to end this episode. So you enjoyed, thumbs up. Now, do you want to some down? You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.